Shabbat Shalom. It's hard to realize that we're here, that you're here, that you're there, at home as well. I'm pointing to God. Or the camera. Maybe both. But we are here. We're back in our space. I can't tell you how emotional that is right now. It's been almost a year and a half that we have not been in each other's presence, really physically. That we have not been here together in this space, sang together, prayed together, listened to these gorgeous voices that are together. I mean, it was amazing to have those amazing voices carrying us through the last year and a half, but we could only hear them one at a time. But you can hear when they're back together, and the songs that are like that, it changes everything. And in a moment, we'll sit and meditate together as well, and be just in our space in this moment. It's like, I don't know if it's real yet. It's kind of like that. So welcome. Bruchim habaim. We say Bruchim habaim, usually translated as welcome, but really it means blessed are those who have come here. Blessed are those who are here. We are blessed to be here, to be in each other's presence. Whether you're watching us behind your computer, your TV, wherever you see us, or all of us here. And you know what's coming up. Of course you know what's coming up. There's only one prayer that we can sing together in this very moment. It's the Shehechianu. Of course. The prayer that says, oh my God, we're here. That's the literal translation. Oh my God, we're here. The prayer that says, thank you for this moment. Thank you for this day. Thank you for bringing us, all of us, alive and well. All of us having survived. None of us that I know of, none of any of our members having fallen ill from the pandemic. Shehechianu. Shehechianu. What page is that on? It's on page, if you know the words, if you need the words, page 29. I want to stand up. Please be seated again. Did you see what we gained over the last year and a half? We gained a guitar player. It's awesome. And a ukulele player as well, right? Yeah. We saw you behind the computer. So we step into Shabbat together. I'm hesitating coming too close because I don't have protection, so I'm going to stay right here. But I want to be in the middle of you. I want to be surrounded. So we enter into Shabbat. That's it. Right there. Don't look any further. Shabbat means rest. And the invitation into Shabbat is this dropping, this resting into consciousness as awareness. It's like a stepping back from all the busyness of the mind, of the body, of the emotions, and just dropping. Letting ourselves drop beneath the surface, the agitated surface of the doing, of the busy in. So just observe the breath for just a moment. And let yourself drop. I was using this image today in the meditation. Just let yourself drop, sitting at the bottom of the ocean of consciousness. Where it's so quiet. Where it's so peaceful. That is Shabbat. That is the rest that we are calling to enter into. The resting as awareness, beneath the preoccupation of the ego. That is the space into which we are called to enter right now. In a moment, we'll bring light into that space as we kindle our candles for Shabbat here in our sanctuary, there in your home sanctuary. But then we have to do a little ritual between entering the silence and kindling the lights. It's a ritual that comes from a place of abundance in the heart. The place of Dayenu, it is enough. And it's from sharing the surplus of our love, sharing as a practice of gratitude, that I invite you to find the tzedakah box that, as always, has found its way right there in the back of the sanctuary, and to give a gift of love. We support this month an organization called RIP, Rest in Peace, Medical Debt. It's an organization that empowers donors to relieve millions of people from the oppression of the burden of medical debt. And that organization is dedicated to supporting families and veterans as well across America. And it uses our donations, our funds, to wipe out medical debt from the neediest of cases. And when all the neediest have been taken care of, they move up to the next, and then the next, and then the next. So that is what your gift will support these Shabbats moving forward. So if you're dancing towards the tzedakah box, please do so right now. If you're kindling Shabbat candles in our space, please come forward and kindle while we invite you into a waltz nigun. Well, you have to stay up here. You can't just run away. It's just not fair. Every Shabbat, as you maybe remember, we used to invite members of our community to come forward and kindle the Shabbat candles to tell us what it is that we're celebrating in their life, honoring. The last year and a half, we've done that through our computers. And we still are. There are people who are not in this space, but I know are watching right now, and I will call your name. On our left, we have Linda Morris. I recognize because of her hair color. She's lighting a candle tonight in honor of her brother, Steve Gold, on his yard site, and for Ralph Moldauer. Oh, yes, sorry. A year and a half, and I forgot how to do it. Linda Morris wants to light a candle to thank all the angels that came forward and supported her to move her mother-in-law, Pauline, in a skilled nursing facility in Florida last week. Yes. And I saw pictures. She looks very comfy and happy there. So we'll see. Next to Linda is Mark and Diana Bonihati, and they are lighting candles tonight in celebration of their upcoming 35th wedding anniversary. You don't look a year older than 34. I don't know what happened. We just missed a year and a half. So. Next to Mark and Diana is Saul Petersky. Saul is lighting a candle in celebration of a new job as an outreach case manager at Downtown Emergency Service Center. Mazel tov. All right, now we have Linda Moldauer. She's lighting a candle in honor of her brother Steve Gold on his yard site, and for Ralph Moldauer, her husband, on his second yard site. And next to Linda is Stu Haller. And Stu is lighting 2 candles tonight, one to honor the 8th yard site of his aunt, Marcella Oshroff, and another candle to continue the recent celebration of his and his twin brother Nelson's as they celebrated their 80th birthday together. And on my right, we have, hang on, I'm going to hand you a mic. Yeah, oh yeah, wow. We are honored to have you here tonight. Welcome.
Sorry, this is my first time here, so I'm new to that all that. But my name is Sarah Temple, and I wanted to light a candle because my sister and I finally found somewhere to live here in Seattle. So it was after about a year of living in a hotel, so we were very happy.
Oh wow, Mazel Tov. Welcome, welcome. And there are a few people watching us from home tonight. Oh, I also lit 2 candles tonight. One for myself and one for my beloved wife, Amy. We celebrated yesterday our 22nd, just behind, 22nd anniversary last night. So from home, Ellen Lyons is lighting a candle in memory of her mother's on her 24th yahrzeit, August 3rd. And John Danker, watching from Colorado, is lighting a candle tonight for himself as he is undergoing hip replacement surgery on August 11th. And Sharon and Jean Leroy are celebrating their 6th anniversary on August 9th and are lighting in celebration of that blessed day. I know because I was there. The words of the blessing are on page 1. And we are all invited here in this space at home as we cover our eyes to look within and see what it is that we would be lighting a candle for tonight. Even though we didn't come forward, even though we didn't light the match, what is it that we are blessing? What is it that we are honoring? What is it that we are celebrating? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen. Thank you. So in just a moment, I'll invite you to rise as we'll meet the Baruch Hu on page 5. But before we do that, I'd like us to feel into this moment, maybe to close our eyes for just a second. I remember growing up, and it's true in many synagogues, on top of the ark was this sentence in Hebrew, Da mimul mi ata omed. Literally translated, know before whom you are standing. And as I've grown up and evolved, like many of us, I've come to understand that the presence is never just in front of us, not just before us. The presence surrounds us. The presence encompasses us. And the presence fills us through and through. There is not a part, an atom of who we are that is not filled with presence. The totality of our being is the embodiment of presence. Presence is that which right now hears these words. Presence is that which right now feels these feelings, knows these thoughts, experiences these sensations. In Hebrew scripture, there is a sentence that says, Ein od milvado. There is nothing but that which is. It permeates everything. So as we are about to rise to stand in the presence and bow to that presence, the little ritual of the Baruch Hu and of the Shema are just pointers, fingers pointing to the moon. They are practices to push the ego aside for a moment, that we might remember that presence. And so it is with this kavanah, with this intention, with this one-pointed awareness, that I invite you now, as we turn to page 5, to stand as the presence in the presence. And we say together, Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Bless the Eternal, the one who is blessing. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Blessed is the Eternal, the one who is blessing eternally.
Bye.
And as we remain standing for the Shema on page 6, we call out these words as reminders, as affirmation, that all that is the expression of the one presence. Join me. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Listen, Israel. The eternal manifests as all that is. The eternal is one. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Blessed is the name. The splendor of its presence shines eternally. Shema Yisrael. Please be seated. And we continue in the middle of page 6 with the Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu advarim ha'eleh asher anochi metzavcha היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת עמם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם המזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם we are about to stand again for the Amidah on page 8. We haven't shared the Amidah together for a year and a half. So I want to invoke the presence again before we all stand again. The presence within meeting the presence without. Maybe that's why the Torah was telling us how Moses knew God, panim el panim, oftentimes mistranslated, or kind of mistranslated as face to face. The Hebrew actually also means inwardness to inwardness, presence to presence. Because Moses realized that these inner presence and the outer presence were not two. So let's meet the presence, panim el panim, together. Please rise. Adonai sfatai tiftach, ufi yagit tehilatecha, Eternal One, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה, רב להושיע. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בגבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. I was going to tell you to sit down, but I don't think you're going to want to do that. I was talking about being in the presence. And when we really truly step into the presence, when we drop beneath the surface of the mind and the noise of life, and we find our breath, and we step fully into the joy of the moment, what we find at the center of our being is love. An incredible capacity to love. That was most of the time obscured, covered up, veiled by the mind and its preoccupation and its busyness and its to-do lists and its seeking to be recognized, seeking to achieve, to be someone, to be somebody. But underneath all of that is a space, a vibration that doesn't care about any of that. That is simply in love with being alive. That doesn't need accolades. That doesn't need to strive. It just is. And that is the source of all of us. Right there. That place that is telling us, like we said in our prayers, Ve'ahavta. Fall in love. Fall in love right here, right now, with every breath. And as you encounter the presence around, in every being, in every moment, in every experience, fall in love with that as well. There is a song, an ancient song, comes from a long time ago, perhaps in a galaxy far, far away, that invites us to be in the presence of love. That sweet love. And that song, I have taken the time to rewrite it. Because it used to say, my Lord. But my Lord just doesn't jive, as they used to say back in the days. I wanted us to step into the presence of love. That song has been inserted in your prayer book tonight. And I know you know it. And I want you to join us. The song to the Shekhinah. Well, you didn't think we lost our sense of humor in the last year and a half, did you? It's actually an ecstatic song, really. I have rediscovered that song sometime during my vacation, and even before that, and I just couldn't stop singing it. And I thought, since they're saying hallelujah there, they stole the Hebrew. We're just gonna, make it Kabbalistic. It worked. Actually, I tried to find the Hebrew version of each of the Hindu names, what they represented in the song, and decided that the song was an ode to the presence, an ecstatic sense song to wake up to the presence, the Shekhinah, all around us. My black chair has disappeared. I feel like I'm on a baby chair. We'll find it. Probably get a new one. Is that the fan that is making that noise? You can, move it away. That's good. So after a year and a half, do you know where we are in the Torah? Well, we are 4 weeks to the High Holidays, so we're very near the end of the book of Deuteronomy, as you can imagine. Well, the Torah portion this week is called Re'eh. It means see, look, see. I place before you a blessing and a curse. A blessing if you follow my mitzvot, my path, my practices. And a curse if you don't. And sometimes God just doesn't sound like a good guy or a good gal. Just giving curses or blessings willy-nilly, whether we follow the rules or not. But that's really not what this is about. There is great depth into that simple verse. Because most of us, when we read a verse like that, do the mitzvot, and if we listen to it literally, we'll think, we have to, be orthodox and live the orthodox way. That's what the book is saying. And most of us have moved away from that kind of lifestyle, probably never to return again. And so for the rest of us who are seemingly looking at it from the outside, it feels this sentence, these verses feel very anachronistic. They feel like, first of all, I don't believe that there is a God out there bestowing blessings or curses. Life does that enough itself. And so we tend to reject what doesn't fit into our boxes anymore. And now oftentimes here, even many spiritual teachers who oftentimes in the name of the universality of the path that they are presenting to their followers, teach that we have to do away with all of the observances, all the rites and the rituals, that somehow universal spirituality is transcendent of all of those arcane practices. That spirituality should be ritual-free. That we should really we should really engage in spirituality from whatever is within us, whatever moves within us. To somehow reclaim our power away from the imposed upon rituals, practices, observances. So in the name of freedom, of a universal version of spirituality, we do away with everything. And I think that hurts us spiritually. It hurts us spiritually because, I mean, look, we are creatures of habits. I mean, if you look at your life, your everyday life, what you do from the moment you wake up until the moment you close your eyes in bed at night, what you do is ritual after ritual after ritual, habits after habits after habits. We are people who just love and feel the most comfortable when we do what's predictable. Well, actually, we get really upset when life throws a wrench into our habits. We get upset, we get angry. Someone doesn't do what we expect them to do. Yell at them. So the way we function as a separate sense of self is remarkably, in fact, through practices and rituals and rites that often we practice exactly at the same time every day. You know, we wake up at the same time, we eat at the same time, we commute at the same time. If we didn't commute at the same time, we wouldn't have, traffic. So in fact, we are creatures who yearn to be surrounded by practices and rituals and habits. And when we don't have a spiritual version of rituals, practices, and observances, what we are left with is, let's call it a secularized version, which in fact does us great disservice because all it does is build up our ego. We lose the sacred dimension of our day, and we surrender to the enslavement of ego, of that separate sense of self. Because everything we do in those rituals, secularized rituals, non-spiritual rituals of every day, we do in service of the ego. To keep the ego comfortable, to keep the ego at peace, to keep the ego worshipped. It makes the ego feel really good, but it also gives it the illusion of power. When we are at the service of the ego, it gives unbeknownst to us perhaps, the ego illusion of power, even the illusion of it existing at all. I went on a week-long meditation retreat during my vacation. One of my teachers, whose name is Adyashanti, is one that I follow closely. I'm in love with him as a teacher. And during the meditation retreat, he asked us a question. Profound question. He asked us, what is your life in service to? What is your life in service to? And there were a few very brave and honest souls who, after deep reflection, after looking inward and taking an inventory of their lives and their behavior and their everyday actions, rites and rituals and habits, came forward and said, I serve my ego. My life, the entirety of my life is in service of my ego. And I admire people like that, because I would have said the same thing, but I was too shy. They have to give their names. But talk about a beautiful practice of surrender, of deep inward looking, of honesty, of truth-telling to ourselves. So I think we need mitzvot. Not in the orthodox way, because if we do that, sometimes we fall into the rut of just the doing and we miss the essence of each practice. But we need practices. We need rites and rituals that are infused with spirituality, that are in fact paths of connectedness, of mindfulness, that are actions in our world, in our lives, every opportunity we get to drop into the consciousness, into the presence, into the awareness of our innermost being. That each one of our most mundane actions be in the service of awakening, be in the service of remembering the presence within, that which is in fact always already aware of whatever experience is arising in each moment. That we might in fact re-enchant this disenchanted life we live. That we might in fact rediscover the sacred in every breath, in every heartbeat, in every breath. So precious, as we have discovered this past year and a half, to help us awaken to a deeper truth, a deeper reality, in fact, even a deeper identity. Rituals, observances, practices, to reconnect us, to plug us back into our source. Actually, the word mitzvah comes from the Aramaic tzav, which means connected. So mitzvot, actually, every mitzvah is an act meant to connect us back to source. Not just to connect us back to source, but to wake up to the truth that that action is an expression of source itself, of being itself. And it's for everything. I remember during the retreats, Adyashanti talking about the first time that he went to the Zen teacher, that actually he answered an ad in the newspaper. There was an ad in the local newspaper that invited people at this address to come. That was a Zen teacher giving satsang. And he shows up, and it says in the little ad, enter through the gate of the garden to the back door. And he does just that, and he didn't realize that was the house, the private house of that teacher, but she had created the downstairs space as a meditation hall and a teaching hall. And as he walks through the yard and arrives at the door in the back of the house, she greeted him at the door, and she asked him to take his shoes off before entering the meditation space. And you know how we take our shoes off. You know, you put the toes in the back of the heel of the other shoe, you pull your foot out, then you do the same thing with your toes on the heel of that other shoe, and then you just toss your shoes aside. And he shares the story that she looked at him, and then she looked down at the shoes that were just thrown on the ground. And then she looked at him. And then she looked down at the shoes. And she kept staring at the shoes. And he said, that was my first teaching moment. That's the first thing she ever taught me. And he grabbed the shoes and he put them side by side neatly by the door. And then she let him in. Because our shoes are sacred. Why should we treat our shoes less sacred than we treat anything else? But that's when practice begins. When we order and treat everything with respect, kindness, and love. And that's everything. Which is why in the halakha, in Jewish law, which is the Jewish path of mindfulness, it says that you should start and stepping in your right shoe first and then the left shoe. It tells you, that's the way you order your life. Because the right side is the right side of the Kabbalistic tree of life, which is the side of kindness, rachamim, chesed. And you want to start your day putting your shoes and your pants on, whatever you put, start always with the right side. When you put your shirt, your button-down shirt, put the sleeve to the right arm first. Because you invoke compassion, you invoke love. I mean, if you do it mindfully. And then you step into the left shoe or the left side of your shirt or the left side of your pants. And that's gevurah, that's courage, but that's also justice. That's a little more rigidity. But you want the balance of both. But you have to step into your life with intentionality. We start the day saying modeh or modah or modim, anachnu, grateful, how grateful we are. It's a little word, it's a little practice, but we step into the day with gratitude. And then the halakha also tells us, even before we put our shoes on, when you go to the bathroom, there's a blessing for going to the bathroom. Of course, in Judaism, there's a blessing for everything. We thank the presence that all the holes in our body that need to be open are open and working. And that there are no holes outside of those that would be open, that we would not need them to be open. And we're grateful that they're not. It's just a gratitude for the body, just doing what the body needs to do. It's another little thing, but it makes a difference. It's important because this body is sacred, completely sacred through and through. We put a mezuzah in the door of our homes to remind us as we cross the threshold that that space is God's space. That space is sacred. Our home is sacred. It's a temple, just like our body is. And we have Shabbat. Shabbat has millions of rules of what to do's and what not to do's. And I did this exercise some years ago, but forget about all the rules of the Orthodox way of life. If you wanted to keep Shabbat, just a day for your soul, what would you do? What would be the rules that you would write for yourself? And when we did this exercise, people came up with the same rules that the halakha had actually put together thousands of years ago. Lighting candles. We have the holy days. I love our holy days because they are convocation. We call them convocations. And each one of them invites us to think deeply for ourselves about things that if we didn't have holidays, we would never think about. Yom Kippur, high holidays, thinking about forgiving each other, thinking about our death. I mean, if that was not a context for that, would we ever do it? Passover, facing our enslavement, the places of our stuckness. If there was no Passover, would we do it? We need rituals, we need mitzvot, we need daily meditation. So you see, the Torah is not saying, if you follow my mitzvot, I will bless you. And if you don't follow my mitzvot, I will curse you. It says if you live a life without spiritual practices, you will live a life surrendered to ego, enslaved to ego. And the ego only sees the world as a curse. Always lacking something, always missing something, never satisfied about anything. Always comparing, always feeling bad because they can't be better than the other, they can't have more than the other. And so you set yourself up for a life of curses, not curses from without, curses from within. So close your eyes. And let's enter together into a ritual, a practice. I don't want to call it meditation, because if I call it meditation, then the ego is going to conjure up a meditator. And I don't want any meditator here. All I'm asking is to let your eyes close and for you to do nothing. Meditation, which is not what we're doing, is the art of doing nothing. It's really hard. So I'm asking you to just sit there and do nothing. And let awareness gently on its own, without you having to do anything, let awareness gently on its own settle on observing the breath. Don't do it. Let awareness do it. Let awareness settle on the breath. And don't breathe. Let the body breathe. Really just sit there and do nothing. I urge you. The body is breathing, and awareness is gently settled on observing the breath coming in and going out. And just notice that as awareness, as we rest as awareness, settling on the breath, and there is a kind of quiet that emerges from within. It's amazing. We have nothing to do about it. We're not doing anything. But just by letting awareness gently rest on the breath, suddenly the body on its own releases any tension, any contraction. It's like the body is invited to surrender into that spaciousness. That deeper silence. Sitting at the bottom of the ocean of consciousness, in the absolute quiet. What is aware? What is aware right now? And if you answer that question with a thought, you know it's not the answer. Because the thought is just a thought, and that which is aware of the thought. So what is aware? I would suggest that you don't answer. I would suggest that you just feel into what the question is invoking. Shabbat is an invitation into this kind of resting. Not resting because we're tired, but a resting as awareness. In the image of God, in the story of creation, where in 6 days of doing and doing and doing led to the seventh day, and God rested as awareness, doing nothing. And it is in that kind of resting that demands nothing, that asks nothing, that just is. That we uncover within ourselves a deeper inner peace. A centeredness, a grounding, a wholeness. We uncover what perhaps the aim of any spiritual journey is: to uncover Shalom. Deep, profound, abiding Shalom. And may that Shalom we have found deep within ourselves spring forth from the sacredness of our source, the holiness of our being, and radiate through this sanctuary beyond these walls, through our neighborhoods and city, and beyond that throughout the world and the universe. That all who are in need of healing on this Shabbat might also discover within them the power of Shalom, of wholeness, of harmony to heal every cell of their being. מי שברך אבותינו אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, מי שברך אמותינו שרה, רבקה, לאה ורחל, הוא יברך וירפא. It's Craig Wilson, Daniel Clark, Hillary Wilson, Phyllis Levin, Maxwell Bernard, David Mark, Richard Aaron Ben Chaim, Martini Yani, Marissa LaCabe, John Gorham, Donald Meadow, Kelly Reagan, Katie Margaret Bank, Susan Austin, Simon Garcia, Jerry Pettitz, Carol Caporelli, Zoe Chaya Young, Abigail Levy, Jen Crowley, Dorinda Regan, Elizabeth Heath, Lynn Carroll, holding Lynn in all our hearts tonight as she is spending yet another night in the hospital tonight. Holding her in our hearts, sending her love and energies of healing. Leah Vetter, Russell Kaufman, Ernie Duffek, Cynthia Dendriano Duffek, Linda Morris, Eileen Wellens, Ruth Oppenheimer, Sid Hoover, Amy Lowe, Zeke Amsteter. And we name in our hearts the name of those we hold in light of healing on this Shabbat, as we share with them the song on page 17 in your prayer book. Beyado, in your hand, Holy One of Being, we let our healing unfold. We turn to page 12 for the Aleinu, and we rise. we say together, we are the ones given this way of praising the Holy One of all being, that we might understand and express the greatness of the one who shapes all creation. We celebrate our uniqueness and that of others and seek to discover the wonder that we are. Therefore, we bend the knees, we bow, and we proclaim our gratitude before the ruler of all rulers, the Holy One of all being. As it is said, then we shall truly realize the Eternal One as universal being, and on that day, the unity of being shall be celebrated by all. Aleinu leshabeach la'adon hakol, la'atzet gedula leyotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoye ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, And before we turn to page 13 for the Mourner's Kaddish, I'd like to invite all of us to open our hearts, if we haven't done so already. To open our hearts and hold within this heart of ours, this heart of compassion, this heart of forgiveness, this heart of abundance and of abundant love, to hold all we remember in this moment, in that heart of ours. On this Shabbat, we hold special light of memory for those who have made their transition in recent days and weeks, those for whom we are still observing Shiva or Shlushim. Mike Levin, Ricky Levin's father, Jeannie Warner, Barbara Klein's friend, Willard Harlow, another friend of Barbara Klein. On this Shabbat, we also hold in light of memory those who have made their transition in this past year. Robert White, David Hittmiller, Dr. Agi Schuler, Dr. Dijo Schuler, Jerry Crouch, Fern Danker O'Connor, Gary Marmer, Lorne Lee, Samvang Sisamuth, Serilu Codden, Marco Antonio Florian Corona, Klaus Schuler, Bill Harris, Michael Ruff, Irving Faludi, Rebecca Risman, Paul Ponton, Mark Montefusco, Mark Sinclair, Carol Cohen, Carl Robert Finkelstein, Judy Turin, Ava Boyadosh, Daryl Summers, Gloria Funston, Yitzchak Leib, Ben Bertha ve'Aaron, Norman Lubitsch, Marcia Whelan, Jack Cohen, Jeffrey Hollingsworth, Francesca Tolchin, Jaden Jones, Patrick Hennelt, Stephen Wayne. On the Shabbat, we'll also hold in light memory those whose yahrzeit, the anniversary of their passing, happens at this time of the year. Ani Shemei, Ann Manson, Esther Goldish Kravitz, Janet Goldstein, Lila Claren, Patricia Frank Baldov, Robert T. Cohen, Ira Moss, Steve Gold, Ralph Moldauer, Robert White, David Hittmiller, and we hold all those I haven't named in our heart as we share these words together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביום אחד, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהא שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומן ויתנשא. ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לאלה מן כל בחתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל יושבי טבע, ואמרו אמן. May the one who creates harmony above make peace for us, for all the household of Israel, and for all the peoples of the world. And let us say, Amen. Before we close Shabbat we're going to do the oneg here, we're going to do the blessing over wine and bread here. I'm actually going to ask those who are going to bring to us a little challah and a little bit of wine or juice to do so at this time. Also perhaps to turn the lights on in the atrium at this point. There is a bar mitzvah tomorrow, and all of us are invited. And it's the son of Ruby Greenberg. You know, Ruby, she comes for high holidays, she plays the violin and supports us through our high holidays. She's done that for many, 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 many years. In fact, she started to do that when she was 17 or 18, when we actually were the early days of Bet Aleph back in Bellevue. And it's her son's bar mitzvah tomorrow. You can bring it over here. And Zach, whose bar mitzvah was a few years ago, will be there also tomorrow. And he's the one who's plays the cello for us during high holidays. It would be wonderful if we could show up for them tomorrow at 10:30 right here in the space. Half of their family, because of COVID, had to stay either in Argentina or in parts of Europe. Their family is spread all over the planet. And so they only have a few people coming to support them. So I make a special request perhaps tonight. If you have the time and don't have anything else tomorrow, to please show up. And you know, the rest is all about the high holidays, and you're receiving enough emails to know what's going on. We'll do that actually not in this space this year, as you notice, as you know, because you didn't park there. They are building a building right behind this door, starting in a few days. And I figured we couldn't spend Yom Kippur trying to meditate with, you know, the building coming up. It would be somewhat of a distraction. So we're meeting at Center for Spiritual Living, actually throughout September. Also, both our Shabbats will be there, because we just don't want to have to carry everything back and forth. We told them we would just leave everything there, and they were kind enough to allow us to also spend Shabbat in their sanctuary. So that Alf moves to CSL for September. But we'll be back here in a couple weeks. So I see the plates coming around. Each one of you will be given a little piece of challah and either a cup of wine or juice, whichever fits for you. Yours is coming, I think. I'm just going to, you know, as this happens, I really would like to invite you to find ways to make your life, fill your life with sacred rituals and practices. In everything you do, invoke the presence. Even how you take off your shoes tonight. Because we are going to be living through our life filled with rituals, so we might as well choose sacred ones, mindfulness ones. If you have received your cup, or if it's still making its way there, or I'm going to wait just another moment. Training wheels, you know, we're just getting used to different ways. And just be with the presence as you wait. Even waiting is an opportunity to drop beneath the surface. Maybe especially waiting is that opportunity. And to bless all of you who have walked around the sanctuary giving us our little cup and our little piece of bread. Thank you. We bless you as well. Raise your cup. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav, ורצבנו בשבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו זכרו זיכרון למעשה וראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקרא קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. אמן. לחיים. You have to take off your mask. Good. So hold your challah. We bless the presence that expresses as nourishment. Nourishment of soul, nourishment of body, nourishment of heart. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat shalom. Thank you, Sam. I missed it. Concluding song. We have to have one. You know it because it's about my sweet love. Come on. You don't need the words anymore. Clap your hands. I really want to know you. I really want to go with you. I really want to show you love, and it won't take long.
my love. Shabbat shalom.